Hello fellow pipers, Janis here, coming at you on this Sunday noon, or it's close 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you are following my channel, you could see yesterday's 20-minute pipe show that Sylvia and I are doing, and we were talking about Dunhill pipes and Dunhill tobacco. Now, since this is like 20-25 minute show, it's hard to give away a big number or a big amount of information, especially on pipes and also on tobacco. But nevertheless, I wanted to share some of the information that I have and the way how I was buying Dunhill pipe tobacco since I started in 2015. So 10.5 years ago, let's say. Smoking this Standwell Shape 11 Trio line, and in it Samuel gave it Black XX. So let me first start with blends that were available, let's say in 2015, 16 and 17. So when I entered the pipe smoking, and then until the end of 2017, when they stopped the production of these blends under Dunhill name. So the sales went on. They produced, I think, for 1.5 year big stock of tobacco, and they were able to sell the tobacco, and of course trying to find somebody who will take over the tobacco. I don't know if this is the best blend for doing the video, but okay, let's push on. So, where did it all start? So it started in 1907 when the shop on Duke Street was open of Alfred Dunhill, and they were doing individual blends, mixing tobacco according to the preferences of the buyers and so on and so forth. And this, of course, evolved. And because of that, I think it was like in 2012, they started to pre-pack the tobacco. So they were selling certain blends already. And these blends were Durbar, Royal Yacht, and my mixture 965. Or just number 965, which was first blended in 2010 or around there, maybe a little bit before 1910. Okay. There were also other blends that came out, like Cuba with cigar blend and so on. In 2015, ye all signed followed those that I just named. After that, standard mixture in either 2021 or 23. It's an English mixture. Ye all signed standard Virginia, followed by London mixture like Balkan, Oriental Forward, in 2028. And in the late 30s, Baby's Bottom, but it was just straight Virginia. The one that we find here also has Latakia. So Baby's Bottom 1938 that I was able to buy in 2015, let's say. I was buying it when? So it was in end of September 2015 and produced in beginning of March 2015. So then we had the Second World War, and in 50s, 51 let's say, Dunhill introduced nightcap, aperitif, and early morning pipe. In late 50s, it followed with flake, later on known as a light flake. I actually had the possibility to buy a tin of light flake. It was a tin of this size, so the smaller ones. Let me put this down. And then in 60s and 70s they came out with Elizabethan mixture, dark flake. It also went out quite soon. Also until the 80s it went out. And there are two blends that were also available in 2017. These were 3 years matured Virginia and ready rubbed. This also came out in 70s, 60s and 70s. Now, there are some other blends here that I have, and we all know, or at least if you are more than half a year in the pipe smoking. So Dunhill's Deluxe Navy Rose. My mixture 221B Baker Street, the Sherlock Holmes address. This is a Virginia Burley. And then there was also a standard mixture mellow that I didn't buy. Now, these are all already set. Now how was this tobacco produced, or where it was produced? So until the 80s, the tobacco was produced in-house, so-called in-house, not in the store. I mean, they were able to blend the tobacco also still in-house when it was moved somewhere else, just before it went to the Murray's in 1981. The tobacco was tinned somewhere else in Great Britain, maybe in Scotland. We don't know that. I didn't get that information. But otherwise, they had blending and packaging and so on premises somewhere, or the areas somewhere near the company, or if they could call it in-house, then it was quite close, or actually the same building. Okay. So now we know approximately when certain tobaccos started their journey, certain blends started their journey, so you can also distinguish now if you're buying an old tin. If somebody is telling you that they have 100 years old tin of nightcap, that's not possible. It came in 1951. So in 2015, in January, when I started to smoke pipe, I started with and to finish first with the production, so it was blended in-house, and then just before they transferred the production to Murray's in Northern Ireland, it was tinned, packaged somewhere else, blended and packaged somewhere else, or just packaged, we don't know that, in Great Britain, and then it went to Northern Ireland in 1981 to Murray's, where it stayed all the way until 2004, 2005, when the production went to the Murray's was as a tobacco company was closing, and the production went to Orle company in Denmark. And around 2010, Scandinavian Tobacco Group was established as a corporation, and Orlik became a part of it, and the rest is the history. Now in 2000, and there is a part of the Dunhill story that I will now go to. Let me see what I have written. Yes. So in 2015, when I started to smoke, I was buying, I think the nightcap was the first one that I tried, and EMP, early morning pipe, and standard mixture, and so on and so forth. So I tried a number of Dunhill blends. And then the news came out that British American Tobacco, the owner of the Dunhill pipe tobacco brand, was stopping the production and selling the blends. I don't know what was the arrangement between Dunhill company or Alfred Dunhill company in the past and other companies that, let's say, British American Tobacco, who bought the tobaccos from this, from Alfred Dunhill. What was the arrangement regarding the brand, so the Dunhill brand, because Dunhill also had clothing and luxury accessories, leather accessories, of course pipes, tobacco pipes and so on. And somehow the original owners later on didn't want the Dunhill brand to be associated with tobacco, because the attitude towards tobacco changed. There was slowly starting the anti-tobacco regulation and so on. So in 2017, when they announced that the production will stop under the ownership of the British American Tobacco, and the production was done in Denmark, in STG or Orly company, then the as I said, they made like enough big stock for 1.5 years so they can take time and find the buyer and so on. But what they sold in 2018 to STG were only blends, so the recipes and the blend names, not the brand. So the Dunhill didn't came with no rights to use the Dunhill brand was there. And there was also a piece of information saying that, oh, this was transferred without any money exchanging hands or something like that. Like it was, I don't know. They got the blends, but they didn't pay for it. So they somehow made the business in a different way, let's say. I don't know how to say it. So in 2018, or it was in 2017 also, Peterson, or it was maybe later. The Peterson, I would have to check. The Peterson company, Pipe Tobacco and Tobacco Pipes Company from Dublin, was first divided into tobacco and pipes, and then the pipes together with the factory and the store in Dublin were sold to Laodicea Enterprises, and STG bought the rights to Peterson brand and Peterson blends with the recipes. If you check now which blends from Peterson are being sold, you will see which were discontinued and which blends stayed. However, STG also inserted, let's say, ex-Dunhill blends under the Peterson brand, which is a bit strange, but they could easily do it as a STG deluxe navy rolls or something like that. But I think they thought that the Peterson name bears enough long tradition and reputation, so this will positively influence the ex-Dunhill blends. Okay, so then more or less the graphics stayed the same. Now we have Peterson nightcap, Peterson My Mixture 965, just showing this as an example, and Peterson Deluxe Navy Rolls, which is nice because before the STG bought them, this was just Navy Rolls, and since due to the anti-tobacco regulation. Now, why is this time 2015 onwards 2018 important? Because in 2015 I think that the anti-tobacco regulation on the level of the European Union was came into power, and or it came into power a year after, so in 2016. So some countries already changed the graphics. A lot of we saw a lot of brands going towards pouches. The shape of the tins were changing. Even these tins were changing, how they were made and so on. All the labels and warnings and so on, photos and so on. Then, depending on the country, all this regulation came into power. So I had like 3 years, 15, 16 and 17 to buy, and then of course into 2018 and so on, to buy Dunhill blends that were available. But a number of people in 2017-18, they were buying a lot of Dunhill blends due to the fact nobody knew if the buyer will come or this will be totally discontinued and so on. Okay. Now, what else to say? Maybe to show a 100 gram tin of 965. When I started to smoke this one and early morning pipe were available in 100 gram tins. And if you are looking at the older tins, you need to know that 100 gram tins were available when Murray's took over the production later on. So 2081 plus were 100 gram tins. And another information, when Dunhill blends were transferred to be produced from Murray's to Orlik, this is the information that I found on one of the UK shops, online shops. This blend came out, or it was produced and then stayed on the market until today. Erinmore Balkan mixture to step in during that short period, to step in for early morning pipe. Now this is not called Balkan mixture anymore, it's just Balkan. This is the newer tin. And I said there is also Latakia, Erinmore Latakia, or Erinmore Latakia Supreme as known in the past. So all of these except the aperitif that I showed you a tin I bought, and I have a bigger quantity. I didn't go for 3 years matured Virginia, and but this is my taste, and ready wrapped. I have some old tins of Royal Yacht that I showed on the yesterday's video, nightcap that I was gifted by a Canadian piper, so someone from Canada, and I think I have standard mixture and some other old tins that I bought in the past. The graphics were changing. You have to, depending on the year or the period, there were different crests on the label or on the tin, on the lid, either Prince of Wales or George VI, I think. And the crest was removed in 1995, let's say somewhere 1995, totally from the. So also the royal family decided not to have their royal insignia, let's say, or crest being associated with tobacco. And that much about Dunhill tobacco. I hope this was interesting. Maybe you found out something new. You can do your own research, of course, and but I hope that this gave you a bit of insight what was happening since 1907, 1910, and then all the way to 80s and 2000s later on, and the Scandinavian tobacco group was established, and then the British American tobacco sold or gave away the recipes, the blends to the STG. So maybe for just to what are the sources where you can buy second Dunhill blends on the secondary market, the more or less the most normal prices, let's say, if we can call them that, normal for on the secondary markets for the full tins are on pipe stud, let's say. Maybe tin beats, but pipe stud. So as I said, I hope you found this interesting, and until we meet again, I wish you all a lot of pleasant smokes.